Three men and a multiverse of sci-fi's finest spacecraft, but which ones can claim to be the greatest ships ever? Welcome to Space Doc Jury.
Space Doc Jury, full episode number 31. I'm Lee, and I'm bringing the USS Enterprise E.
Whoosh! I'm Peter, and I'm bringing the TARDIS.
The TARDIS?
The TARDIS.
Ah, it's a French version. Disguises itself as a bin.
It's Parisian blue.
Yes. And I'm Andy, and I am bringing the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. The survival of 2 Death Stars. You know it as the Millennium Falcon. Give it up!
That piece of junk?
For the Millennium Falcon?
Yes.
It's just the way you went. You know it as the Millennium Falcon, but give it up for the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, that too.
Oh, well. And the wheels, there they go, bouncing.
Yeah. And they cells, off they go. Down the road.
Or the radar dishes in this case.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's going to be interesting when we talk about crew competence for the Falcon.
Pick a crew, any crew.
Pick a crew. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So, yes, this week is the big one. This is the one which I think everyone was expecting us to do on episode 1.
Yeah, we were saving the leg ends to something significant.
Yes, we saved it for our 100th ship.
Yes, we are on ship 100, and so we have
also 98 and 99
and 99 exactly. But
who cares about those losers? It's 100 we're interested in.
Yes, exactly. The Enterprise E. So
technically, since I'll be going last, the Falcon is number 100.
Well, that seems quite appropriate.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, the TARDIS can be everywhere at once, so it can be both 100 and 1.
And all the numbers in between.
Exactly.
It's going to break the scoring system.
For reasons. Now, obviously, we were never going to do the TARDIS. That was kind of one of our rules. But you know what? If you're going to do the Millennium Falcon, then you've got to have something of significant legendariness to compare against it. And so the TARDIS and the Enterprise E was picked because basically Andy had done Trigger's broom, and
I'd done the D,
and Pete had done like the soup spoon of soupiness, the
carpeted wonder.
Yes, the USS Holiday Inn. So the Enterprise E was kind of the only one left, really. And
Lee's been itching to bring it for ever.
Since never. Yeah, no. But anyway. So, but before we get on to that, obviously last time we were all here for the full episode, the top 10 changed quite significantly with one entry.
But what an entry.
What an entry. And it could have gone right to the top had we not killed it stone dead with a cool score.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
we're not implying we were disingenuous at that point. It's just we saw the way the wind was blowing.
Yeah. This could be a very different top 10. But anyway, let's get on with the top 10. And at number 10, we have the Dalek Mothership from the Russell T Davies era Doctor Who with 63 points. At 9, we have the UNSC Spirit of Fire still sitting there like a big slab of metal on 64 points.
I believe the highest scoring video game ship?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, so suck it, Peter!
Well,
you I can't even remember which one it was. So.
that is quite apt.
Yeah. At number 8, we have the Battlestar Pegasus from the Ronald D. Moore series on 64 points. At 7, we have the Imperial Star Destroyer, the first of the big triangles, with 65 points. At number 6, we have the Battlestar Galactica, the Ronald D. Moore version, also with 65 points. In at number 5, we have the Andromeda Ascendant, the huge spiky Jesus thing.
Sat on rocking chair.
Yeah.
It died for your sins, though.
Yeah, the Jesus,
Good.
the Jesus ship, Jub the Jesus ship, at 66 points. Order 66. And number 4, we have the SSD Executor, which we've now worked out to be the Executor, not the Executor, because Darth Vader's not into sort of legal paperwork. And that's on 68 points. At number 3, it's all pretty much as before, with the Borg Cube sitting on 69. The Vengeful Spirit at number 2 with 69 again. And then finally at number 1, the Death Star, platform DS1, sitting there with 73 points.
Still yet to fire.
Still powering up. I was just wondering about the Vengeful Spirit. Didn't that feature in a video game?
No, not the Vengeful Spirit itself.
Ah, right, okay, fair enough. So, okay, moving on from that then, let's move on to rating and reviewing our 3 big ships for the 100th ship episode. 100th ship episode.
Yes, this is 98, isn't it?
Yes. So this is ship 98.
Vessel 98.
Yeah, I've got to keep putting the p on the end because I'm having trouble and I feel like I'm starting to say shit a lot. Yeah. So,
if it's shit number 98, you've been having a really bad day.
Yeah, shit 98.
You can barely sit on the seat.
Yeah,
oh.
Exactly. It's like play a bit of Robinson Crusoe in the background. Yeah, shit 98, still here.
Just all that coconut. Ah!
Exactly. All the coconut hemp. Oh!
Pebble dash the bog with coconut hemp.
Yeah. But you know what? No matter how rough it is, my bum always maintains its silky smoothness thanks to the coconut cream.
You slide off the toilet seat afterwards.
Yeah. Exactly. It sounds like 2 balloons rubbing together. But anyway, last episode 31 or 30. Sorry. I lost spectacularly with the Gunstar from Last Starfighter. So that means I go first with the USS Enterprise E. Here we go. So the USS Enterprise NCC 1701E, or the Enterprise E to distinguish it from prior and later ships in the same name, is a Sovereign-class starship in the Star Trek franchise and only appeared in 3 Star Trek films: First Contact, Insurrection and Star Trek Nemesis, where it served as the primary setting. This is the 6th, unsurprisingly, Federation ship to carry the name Enterprise, and the 7th...
Apart from the 7th.
Yeah, I was going to say. And the 7th Starfleet ship to be named as such. The Enterprise E launched in 2372 from San Francisco Fleet Yards under the command of Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Yes. And Picard and most of the key officers were from the Enterprise D. According to the non-canon novel Ship of the Line, the ship was originally planned to be named the USS Honoris, and the Montgomery Scott was part of the team of engineers that designed the Enterprise E.
Right.
Yeah.
Because no one knows modern technology like people 100 years out of time.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck his retirement then.
Yeah, exactly. Pensions are getting bad as it is. I mean, how are they going to be in like 300 years in the future?
It would make sense as to why they gave it to Frasier, though.
Well, exactly, yeah.
But it's not a spin-off novel unless it includes people from at least 8 other episodes.
Yes, exactly. And starts with the opening line, a small, tiny speck of technology flying against the blackness, which everyone seems to throw in at least once before mentioning the Enterprise. It's just fucking hackneyed old writing it is. Anyway, in the film Star Trek First Contact, the Enterprise participates in the Battle of Sector 001, destroying a Borg cube, and subsequently travels back in time to stop the Borg from interfering with Zefram Cochrane's first contact with the Vulcans. The Borg hijacked and almost assimilated the ship until Picard and Data reclaimed it. In Star Trek Insurrection, the ship stopped the sonar. Terrible name for a terrible film. Attempt to forcibly relocate the Baku people from the homeworld. And in Nemesis, the Enterprise is heavily damaged while stopping Shinzon from using his weapon of mass destruction to destroy all life on Earth. The ship returned to space dock to undergo extensive repairs. In the novels that subsequently followed, by Pocket Books, the Enterprise E remained in command of the Picard as of 2385, and in the miniseries Star Trek The Fall, Data was resurrected in the novels, similarly in the way to the comic miniseries Countdown, and decided not to re-enter Starfleet. A designer's blueprint shows that the Enterprise has new phaser banks and torpedo tubes in Star Trek Nemesis that were not present in Insurrection, and it also shows that the warp nacelles have been moved upwards slightly and forward slightly. Star Trek Ship of the Line, written by tech consultant Michael Okuda,
Let's
call the whole thing off.
exactly. States that the Enterprise can travel up to warp 9.9995. Of course it can. Yes, the command staff are all the usual geezers, except for
including finding reason of a week to get Worf back on the ship.
Exactly, yeah. And Lieutenant Hawk, who was a helmsman for approximately 10 minutes. Yes, exactly. Who's the ultimate red shirt. Turned up, got an actual line, and then died. So he was.
To be fair, that's in keeping with the Enterprise. I mean, how many con officers did the D have?
Yeah, plenty.
I'm asking you, Pete.
Yeah.
Eventually, lots. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a cursed chair.
Once Wesley left, it was a revolving chair, effectively.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get past all the other crap that just describes the films in very much detail. In her original configuration, the Enterprise E was under 700 metres long and had 24 decks. Although Deck 26 was reportedly being controlled by the Borg, she was equipped with 12 phaser arrays and photon torpedoes. By 2379, the Enterprise E had undergone at least one refit, 4 additional phaser arrays and 5 additional torpedo tubes. And had
a bottomless pit.
Yeah, exactly. Number of decks was also increased by 5 to a minimum of 29. That doesn't quite work, does it? It remains the same, yet somehow gains more decks.
Hey, look on the bright side. At least they're running in the right order.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't suddenly have 63 other bloody things.
Yeah, exactly. The ship could be controlled by a. Now I love the way they word this: manual steering column. Located on the bridge, aka
with auto fire.
I was going to say, aka a Kempston joystick from 1987.
Why? They think that was ever going to work?
She was also the first Enterprise to be equipped with emergency medical hologram. And the Enterprise also carried newer design of shuttlecraft, as well as numerous other forms of transportation, including a warp-capable captain's yacht, the Cousteau, and special multi-purpose shuttlecraft, the Argo. The yacht was also installed as part of the saucer section. Yeah, I was just stop going. Christ. It had loads of trill and betazoids and all that kind of stuff.
Did it have the whales though?
It didn't have whales.
Ah,
there are no Welsh people on board this ship.
No. I mean actual whales, like the D supposedly had.
Oh, yeah, probably. In non-canon Ship of the Line, also it's worth mentioning that Captain Morgan Bateson, a.k.a. Fraser Crane, captained the ship in 2372, and later Picard, once he stepped down in 2385, was replaced by Captain Data, who had returned to Starfleet in 2386, who then served with the ship until it was decommissioned in 2409, and replaced by the Odyssey-class Enterprise F.
Which is fugly.
Yeah, F for what the fuck am I looking at?
That's not the time travelling one.
No, that's not. It's the one that. It's the one.
So it's the one with the hole between the saucer and the body of the ship. So it's like, how do you get from it's?
It's the one that looks a bit like looks like it's got a little carrier handle underneath the saucer. It's
my gosh!
Yeah, the F.
Have you just found a picture?
It's got a spoiler.
It's
got an actual spoiler to make it go faster.
It does. It does indeed.
and it looks like what's that? One of those hammerhead sharks. Oh, it's rubbish. What did that feature in?
Star Trek Online.
Star Trek Online.
Okay, moving swiftly on.
Suddenly it all makes sense.
A little behind the scenes, there was a 10-foot physical model of the ship constructed by Industrial Light and Magic for Star Trek First Contact, which was then augmented by CG version which was later used fully for Insurrection and Nemesis. In the Nemesis CGI model included several modifications by John Eaves. In addition to the weapons mentioned before, the warp pylons were moved, as we said before, and the secondary hull was moved nearer the shuttle bay to make it more sleek. The model of the Enterprise E from First Contact was sold in auction, by the way, for $132,000. There you go. And there's been some confusion about the number of decks on the Enterprise E, according to Memory Alpha.
Yeah.
I was going to say the construction blueprints say that there's 23 decks. Picard says there's 24, and then by the end we have 26 in Nemesis,
plus a bottomless pit.
And deck 13 is missing.
Oh yeah, and the Remans apparently in Nemesis. After mentioning that there's 26 decks, the Remans apparently beam onto deck 29. So,
that was the luggage rack.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be the gap between the decks. There you go. So, yeah, that's it really.
I will say I did see the model last year, and it is gorgeous.
Yes, cool, lovely. Interestingly, for this one, for a Star Trek ship of all things, there doesn't actually seem to be a hell of a lot of fucking stats.
What?
It's bizarre. There is
came at the end, I suppose.
Yeah, when everyone just sort of gave up.
That's why I struggled with the Romulan one as well.
Yeah, so it's really quite hard to work this shit out because you got blueprints, but that really isn't telling you much.
We've never let a little thing like that stop us.
Yeah, okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm just trying to, because I've just found a site that actually has worked it out, or at least. No, hold on. No, it's a history of ships by Rick Sternbach.
But while you do that, I've got another little interesting tidbit.
Go on.
One of the reasons why they wanted to get rid of the Enterprise D is the model was very cumbersome and awkward to use on the motion control rigs.
Yeah.
And they wanted a new model which would be easier. Hence, the Enterprise E was a easier model to use manually. The great irony being that as soon as they built it, they went to CG anyway. So, huzzah!
Yeah. So why? Why bother? Yeah. Okay. Right. Fine. Shall we rate this bugger?
Go for it.
Okie dokie. Right, well, again, according to Rick Sternbach, who's one of the designers of the Enterprise E, the stats are that the length of the ship is, now I'm assuming that this because it's just got a number, 2,248.
Okay.
Now,
well, according to Memory Alpha, it's 685 metres.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so it's a little bit longer than the D.
Well, that would mean that 2,248 is feet then, because that would be about 685 metres.
That would explain.
He's American, so that makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that is on our scoring. The size being 600 and something meters, 680 meters puts it between 6 and 7, probably closer to 7 to be honest.
7, yeah, we round it up, don't we?
Yeah, we round it up. So that's a 7 for the score of the size. Sublight, we're in Trek Sublight, so that's 5. And FTL, we're in Trek FTL. Is it 2 or 3? I can never remember with Trek.
Trek FTL is 2.
That's it.
Yeah. Star Wars is 3, isn't it?
Maneuverability, it's not the brickiest brick that ever bricked a brick. Because
It's not a brick at all. It's
No.
a Starfleet capital ship.
Exactly. So that's a 3, isn't it, by our measure?
It is.
And firepower. Now, where do we stand on this? Because it's obviously got more firepower than the Enterprise D,
Yes.
which we gave a 9. But the problem is, if we give it a 10... Oh, no, that's okay. We haven't got any score in the 10. 10 has got no qualification.
What did we give the Scimitar?
Not the Scimitar, what was the Romulan warbird called from
the
Nemesis?
The Valdors.
The Valdor, yes, because we were going to tag it to that, weren't we?
Yeah, the Valdor's got a 9, but it's got a 9 with a grey mark, which means up for discussion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, up for discussion once we got to the E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only thing that E really has that's different to the D
Is
are the quantum torpedoes.
Yeah.
So the question is, how much better... Are quantum torpedoes a percentage point better than photon torpedoes?
Well, as soon as you start looking it up on Memory Alpha, you just get barrage with technobabble, and they're really not particularly clear about it. So,
Well, if you take off what you see on the screen, the big difference between quantum torpedoes and photon torpedoes seems to be the colour.
Okay. Yeah.
And the sound
If
effect.
you watch through Deep Space Nine when they introduce them,
Well,
it doesn't really make any difference.
we gave the Defiant a 10, possibly on the basis of the quantum torpedoes.
Yeah.
So I think we need to give the E a 10 as well.
Well, hold
There you
on.
go.
Allow me to give you a quote. On from First Contact on the matter. Picard, Mr. Worf, fire photon torpedoes. Mr. Worf, we don't have photon torpedoes. We have quantum torpedoes. Picard, quantum torpedoes? What's the difference? Worf, quantum torpedoes work.
What's that from?
That's actually a quote that I found on a website.
It's not in the film.
It's not in the film.
I
yeah.
would imagine that was probably from an early script.
Right, okay.
But nevertheless.
Yeah, well, we don't have photon torpedoes, just quantum ones. And when you run out of those, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, according to the Memory Alpha again, we've got 12 phaser arrays, 1 forward quantum torpedo launcher, 1 forward photon torpedo launcher, 3 aft photon torpedo launchers, and then after the refit, and then after the refit, we've got 16 phaser arrays, same number of quantum torpedo launchers forward, 3 rear, and 6 aft photon torpedo launchers.
Okay, well, let me just put it to you this way. I've just found the DS9 technical manual, and they've got...
No. Trust me, my friend.
Too late.
You are doing
I've just
yourself
found
no
this beer mat on which was scribbled.
Hold on. Allow me just to go to the section about explosive forcing yield. And photon torpedoes have 18.5 isotons, with an upper limit of 25 isotons of explosive conditions. Right. Whereas quantum torpedo starts off at 52 isotons of damage. All I'm saying is, regardless of what isotons are, because as far as I'm aware, that's the stuff that you find in like Lucasade.
Yes, there's more Lucasade on the Enterprise E.
Yeah,
Look,
it's
this is a bit like the speed calculation.
Yeah.
The Enterprise E can do warp 9.999995, whereas the Enterprise D can do warp 9.999. But at the end of the day, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge one. Now, if you want the 10, by all means, with our blessing, because we've pegged the Defiant at it. But it's not that big a difference in the grand scheme of it.
No, I don't think so. But I mean, I'll take a 10. I don't really. But then obviously that will change the Valdor as well, because that was our discussion point.
We were going to have that discussion because we figured they were pegged at it. But do we have any evidence or anything that the Valdor has quantum torpedoes or anything like that?
It doesn't have quantum torpedoes.
I mean, we were just saying we were going to have a discussion about it. We're discussing it.
And so
point to me evidence that it's got something, and then by all means have it.
Okay. No, it's fine. I was just doing it because we were mentioning it here. So anyway.
Yes.
Right, okay, so 10 for the firepower. Okay, yes. Active defense, it's got none, has it? I mean...
Nah, it's Trek, isn't
it? So it's got nothing. Passive, it's got Trek shields. But shields, nonetheless, that are strong enough to walk straight into a scimitar-style ship and leave it with nothing more than a bit of a damage on the front.
Oh, that was a bit more than a bit of a damage.
Let's put it this way, it could still fly.
It was a significant...
No, it could still sit there.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that was category D at least.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely in the insurance claims. Yeah, that was a write-off. But yeah. Anyway, so what do we think then for the shields?
It's
still
Trek
Trek shields. So,
yeah.
So what are we giving that then? That was the Trek shields is 4, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's 4.
3 I've got.
Is it 3? The D's got 3.
Yeah.
What's the Defiant got? The Defiant's got 4. Oh, but the Defiant's got the armor and everything.
Yeah.
I think you can. I reckon 4 because it doesn't have the ablative armor. But if we're saying it's got fancier shields,
I'm not sure there's any evidence of that.
No, there's no
real
evidence.
I was just pointing to when the Borg start shooting at it at the beginning of First Contact.
Oh yeah, it does take a pounding from the Borg and just kind of wobbles a bit.
Well, it's just you got the entire Federation fleet getting its arse handed to it, and the Enterprise just kind of comes in. It just kind of goes, yeah, and. Conversely, though, it does then get its arse handed to it by the melty face people of
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, whose name we really don't care enough about to learn.
Yes. I think what it's got is it's got script-based shields, in which case we'll give it 3. I think it's probably best. Special, not really anything, to be honest. I mean,
do we give points for Source of Sep?
Have we got any evidence of that though? Because
Well, certainly it was designed with the capability.
I don't think it was designed. I think retroactively people have said if we were going to do it, this is how we would do it. But the model was never designed to saucer set.
Because there's that really sort of difficult design bit underneath, which is the kind of...
It looks poop.
It was people have since tried to, because they basically said all Federation ships could saucer set, but
let's face it,
could rejoin.
Yeah, but if you had it in the D, why wouldn't you have it in the E? Which is a logical enough thing to say. But yes, it does. Having looked at how it looks like when you do it, possibly not.
Yeah,
and I don't even think it's in any of the novels. Certainly none of the ones I've read, they've never done it. So,
well, if it's not even in the novels,
no.
Yeah,
I think you can get a special for things like the Argo, maybe.
Really?
I don't have one for the Argo. I'm just saying you could.
No, I mean, I just couldn't see.
Don't stop reminding me of the bloody Argo.
Yeah. Oh my God, I've just seen someone desperately trying to prove the saucer sep on the Enterprise E. And
it's very pokey, isn't it?
It's not. Yeah, it's definitely a last minute design decision rather than actually something that they've thought about.
Rather than the D with its cobra head, you end up with something that looks more like a giant wang, basically.
Yeah. Oh, it actually looks like the Prometheus from Voyager, to be honest.
Oh God, yeah. Here you go. There's a render of it.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, and there's no need for that, really, is there?
It's a canoe.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's definitely something. The model, because when they made this, they didn't know they were going to go CG, and they didn't build the model capable of separating its saucer. And I think that on its own is enough to say it was not meant to have that.
No, I would say that. And the other thing is they've taken liberties with that underside image because, frankly, there's like a little bit that comes out that has the little captain's yacht on it underneath, and that looks like it's welded into the hull of the saucer in any other shot. So yeah, this is definitely a cheat. So yeah, it's got no special at all. Zero. So here comes an interesting one. The crew size. Now the reason I say it's interesting is because there is absolutely no evidence of crew size at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I find that hard for a Star Trek to do it because people obsess over this stuff.
I know, but there's not even anything on Memory Alpha, which is quite unusual.
There's nothing on Memory Alpha. There's nothing on Memory Beta, which is kind of like the wretched hide of scum and villainy.
Doesn't Picard actually say it, though, in First Contact when he's showing Lily around? He says, there's so many people on board.
No, there's hundreds of people on board, I think he says. I don't think he actually says a specific number.
Wow.
And let's be honest, if you're on Memory Beta and you're looking at like sort of evidence from bloody Ship of the Line, and then you're in deep
that
shit.
way lies madness.
You know you're in deep shit. And so yeah, I even looked at the wiki, normal Wikipedia as itself, and there's just absolutely nothing. So we don't actually know.
You don't. Well, you're not going to have to take a 1 because we see enough to know there's more than 4 people on board.
Well, most of them were Borg by the end of First Contact, but
there was still crew that were on board. So
they
started off as crew.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, we did see about 300 sort of escape pods flying off, and we can assume that at least one person was in each escape pod.
Okay, I've got some tech specs here. You can take them with as much of a pinch of salt if you want to take them, but the specs. Pinch of salt, yes. Yes, I've got some specs here. And this says the crew is of 885.
885?
Well, I'll link you guys to this. I'm not saying this looks like a GeoCities website,
but
this looks like a GeoCities website.
GeoCity.
Oh, I can't wait. I haven't seen one of those in years.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, hold on.
GeoCities.
Oh, going back in time.
Fucking hell. My coats have literally just grown shoulder pads. That's amazing.
Heavens to Betsy.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. That's some fine GIF work there, that is.
There is.
Hang about, here you go. I've got Excientia here, the one for the really obsessive fans.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing if it's got any crew numbers on this.
Wow.
And it does not.
Hooray!
Well, in that case, I mean,
one person making up shit on a
no,
GeoCities
I'm
website.
not counting that at all. I think what we can say is, how many escape pods do we see launching in First Contact? I'm not going to sit and count them. I'm just seeing if I can find that number.
I think we see at least 15, maybe 20. But that would only give us 15 to 20 people. I mean, look at this. I mean, this GeoCities site. I mean, it's like maximum payload for a transporter. How do you know that shit? Maximum.
You've been looking around space battles.
Yeah, I know. But what makes me really laugh is it's like maximum beaming range 40,000 kilometers. So like, what happens when you're behind a moon and you beam to the planet? Does that not work anymore? What?
I don't know.
No.
I found a still, and there's 18 escape pods launched.
Okay.
So there's what, maybe, let's say, as much again Borgified back on the ship still.
I think that's a lot of assumptions being made there.
I'm not assuming. No. I think I'm not going to sit here and do it right now because we're in the middle of an episode. But I'm pretty sure you sit and watch the scene when Picard's going into the engine room. There's going to be at least 20 Borg there.
Yeah. Yeah. So we know there's at least 20 people.
Hey, it's your shit, man. You take what you want. You want to take one. We ain't going to stop you.
No, I'm just trying to be.
No, it's definitely not one, but I suspect. Yeah. Beyond two, and we're definitely guessing, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. I mean, yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's think logically here. At the very least, it's going to be between 101 and 250. Arguably, there's going to be 250 to 1,000. I think probably 5 is your best bet.
I mean,
best guess, Mr. Sulu.
I mean, let's put it this way: if you put it the same as the D, I think you'd be fine because you're talking about the same size.
The D was much bigger in terms of mass.
Oh,
it's twice the mass.
We gave that a 6. So shall we give this a 5?
I'm happy to give it a 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a 5. I wasn't expecting anything. I'll be honest with you with that one.
Well, I mean, just on that, it's not like we barely see anybody. We see lots of people. It's just we don't know exactly how many lots of people. So
that's true.
Well, the Enterprise D had a complement of 1,000. So yeah, I think if you say, well, it had 1,014.
Because the 14 makes all the difference.
Yeah, because we went from 1,001 to 2,500 on the 6. So
yeah, that's true.
You got a 5. You got a nice big, 250 up to thingy.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll take the 5. Crew competence. Now, we've gone round this house before. I mean, I know you guys don't really.
End up with in the end.
Yeah, we ended up in a fight, if I remember rightly. But I would say crew competence. If you can't call Picard's crew a legendary crew, I don't know what else to tell you.
The problem is they really aren't at their best in those films, are they? Particularly not Picard.
With the exception of First Contact, no.
Yeah. I think even in First Contact, Picard is not at his best because he's thrown by the Borg, isn't he?
He is kind of compromised by it, yeah.
So I would suspect one less than we gave the D might be a fair result.
No. You see, this is our issue with the D and its crew is the crew get better as time goes on.
Yes.
So in season 1 and 2 of The Next Generation, the Enterprise D crew are pretty damn pants. To which anyone who listens to the broadcast will attest. They are pants. Now, they get to seasons 3, 4, 5, and bits of 6.
Yeah.
They're
pretty,
3,
4, and 5, they're good.
Then absolutely, they're legendary status. But it goes right off a boil in 7 again. Yeah. Stays down in Generations, up in First Contact. But I'm talking about the D, so Generations is the last one, basically. Which is why we made such a passionate plea that they didn't deserve to be legendary. Now, the E, on the whole, I'd say are better than the D. But, frankly, I think we still overrate the D crew on this. So, Peter's point of taking one down from the D, I don't agree with, because I think, on the whole, they're better than the crew of the D. But I still don't think they deserve legendary status, mostly because of Insurrection, and mostly because of, as you say, Picard in First Contact and everything involving Data in Nemesis.
The only thing I've got to say here is I mean, the one thing. I mean, I know you guys are more into this now than I am. I mean, but I always saw the point of Star Trek: Next Generation being about a heroic crew being heroic. So,
but that's
frankly,
not how it pans out.
I know it's not how it pans out in general, but like, if these guys
theoretically they're the best of the best, but you'd expect them therefore to be a lot better than they actually turn out to be.
And they even rip into it in Deep Space Nine. At one point,
Yes.
Worf is going like, "This would not happen on the Enterprise." At which point, Odo goes, "Oh, really?" And
then
pulls
lists
out a
all the
pad.
ridiculous things that have happened in the course of Next Generation, including Ferengi taking the ship on with an out-of-date bird of prey. I mean, it was
yeah, but
yeah. I think Andy's right. Yeah, it's probably not fair to knock it down from what we gave the D. So we're looking at a 4, I think.
But I mean, just to bring a small point up, let's not take too much shit from the DS9 crew, okay?
Why?
What?
They're
They're
quite
better.
probably the single most competent crew in all of Starfleet's history.
Yeah, okay. Well, then that just doesn't say a hell of a lot about Starfleet's history, really, does it?
It really doesn't.
I think that says more about Starfleet in general than their competence, to be honest.
Just for the listeners at home, and how much of Deep Space Nine did you watch?
Up to and including, once it all went Klingon and everything had to be,
Season 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew as much.
Not even half.
I knew what the marquee were by the end of it, and I knew that DS9. I knew that Worf was on board. And then what happened was they obviously got the ship that was following along from home base with the citronella garden candles and the red lights and the Vaseline turned up. And then we had to have every second episode had to have them at least having a pata, and then everyone sitting around talking about meat pies or something. It just, in Klingon.
Again, this is why you really need to watch Deep Space Nine. Because
I have to say, with the greatest of respect, sir, shut the fuck up, Donnie. You have no frame of reference.
I'm sorry, but you can't have it both ways. If you look at the sort of Next Generation and say the first 2 seasons were shit and the last season was shit, so therefore they are shit, then I can watch 3 seasons of Deep Space Nine out of 7 and go, well, that's nearly 45%.
3 seasons of Deep Space Nine in the 90s, sir. And I put it to you because I agree with you. My recollection of Deep Space Nine was the first 2 seasons were shit, but mostly because of the Right Reverend's fault, I've been watching back along. They're a lot better than I remembered, and they're a lot more competent than the Enterprise D crew.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe there'll have to be a Space Dock Jury minisode spin-off whereby every week I look at like 4 episodes of DS9 and go, yeah, or no.
They're already doing it. It's the broadcast. I mean, they're only really into season 4 now, so you could probably just
catch
jump
up
in there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there is a slight Venn diagram crossover at that point, isn't there?
I'd say there could well be some crossover.
Okay, so back to the actual main point in hand. The Enterprise gets a competence of 4.
Yeah.
Right. Exterior realization. Is anyone really going to say anything other than 5?
Nope.
Thank you. Interior. Now, I've got both.
Coconuts?
No, exactly. We're back to
There they are, standing in a row.
Yeah, there we are talking about Bran and
as big as your head. Sorry.
give him a flick.
Shiny poos. Yes.
Yeah, shiny poos. Robinson Crusoe
This
again.
is the bounty episode, isn't it?
Yeah. Here we go again. No, basically,
I have no idea what we're talking about, people. So
don't worry, you will do when you're editing this shit. Basically, interior. I think the bridge looks
fantastic.
Absolutely astounding. I think it's
if not a bit dark, but that's just a lighting choice.
That.
I think.
I like that.
I thought that was and it was much more in keeping with the idea of Starfleet being a military rather than just an outreach program for a bunch of people who just wanted to go stare at things in space.
No, I get that. It's just maybe this is just me projecting where we are today with things, but I kind of miss the whole positive, I want to go out and explore the universe exploration side of science fiction like we had in Next Generation.
I think it's a balance. And
it's a balance to be had, and it's
arguably perhaps the D was one end and the E was slightly the other. But
Yeah.
No, I quite like it. And the ready room's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. And
Fucking ready rooms.
yeah,
He does have an entire aquarium though, not just one fish.
yeah, exactly. And
Luxury.
and for what it's worth, I think the interior of the E matches the exterior in terms of tone.
Yep.
The engine room's very impressive.
Yes. Yeah. It's one of those things where you look at the ship and you say, this is a ship that's a little bit more sleek, a little bit more angry, a little bit more militaristic in terms of its look. And then you look inside and you go, that is definitely the interior of that ship.
I mean, let's face it, it was shaped by the threat of the Borg, so it's going to look more militaristic, isn't it? So,
Yeah, exactly. So for me, that the look of the interior and is a lot. Well, it suits the exterior, and I wasn't going to ask for a 5 because there is no connective tissue between the different scenes. You just sort of like, oh, we're on a bridge. Oh, here's a ready room. Here's a couple of random corridors.
You're partly a victim of the fact that it only appears in a few films, so you don't get to explore it that much as a result.
No, and so it's not like where you're sort of like in Next Generation TV show where you
saw
literally
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You could literally work out where everyone was by dint of the fact of just following them around in the camera. So I'm not going to ask for a 5, but I will ask for a 4.
And you'll have it, sir.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would have given you the 5 if it wasn't so much for no connective tissue between the two, because it's very difficult in most spaceships to do that. What stops you getting the 5 though is that inconsistency of the decks.
Oh yeah,
like you said, even within Nemesis, it changes the number.
Yeah,
and again, that
itself.
bottomless pit. So yeah. It's if you just walk that scene, you've got Ron Perlman facing off against Jonathan Frakes, and he kind of throws him over the side of his gangway, and it's just
Jeffrey's tube from hell.
I can see my house from here.
I kind of wish someone just cut it so as he falls over, he does the no, and then it just cuts to a wide, and he's just lying at the bottom of the gangway because it's just like
or it just goes on for about an hour, and then finally you hear bang.
He passes various deck levels and they're going the wrong way.
Yeah. I'm halfway down now.
It disappears down, and then all of a sudden he comes from the top and goes down, and go what?
yeah. It's a level from Portal. Anyway,
but other than that, absolutely a 4. Yeah.
Okay. Now next one is quite easy because it's Trek Science.
Yeah.
Which is a 4. And then we're on to the cool factor. Well, I'm going to give it all of my 4. I think this is the Enterprise that I now feel most comfortable looking at. The D for me looks a little bit of its era. It's kind of very sweeping and shiny and lovely and everything, but it feels very 80s. And the other Enterprises all feel of their time. They all look lovely. Don't get me wrong, but when I look at the Enterprise E, it's like if they were going to do this from scratch, this is what they'd end up with right from the offing. And frankly, I love it. I think it's a lovely, lovely, lovely design. It was the first time I'd seen the Enterprise in like 4 or 5 films and gone, when I first see it, when it's like in that nebula before they go off and fly off and go and fight the Borg. And then when it turns up and fights the Borg as well, and it sort of sweeps in front of everything, it looks just so cool. It's a ship designed to look cool on the cinema screen.
It is.
There you go. 4 for me. But what about you, Pete?
3, obviously, because that's as much as I can give it.
Right, okay. And Andy?
Okay. Now, I get what you're saying. That first shot in First Contact, I love it. It is great. But for me,
yes,
it suffers a little bit from 2 things. One is I'm actually very nostalgic for the D. Coming back to what I was saying before about, the D was the Enterprise I grew up with, I think, more than any other. And the A is, the refit will always be my favourite. I mean, I think the E is largely them trying to recreate the original one in the Next Generation universe. There's certainly angles of the E which are very reminiscent, which I really like a lot. But what's going to stop me giving it my full 3 under 2 is, for one hand, I'm not a massive fan of the interior.
Right.
I mean, it's very, very well done. I'm just not a fan of it. And 2, it's I just find myself looking at it and finding it feeling too... it's the whole Rick Sternbach era of Trek. It's just... overly busy. You got the black stripes on there, and there's little details which in of themselves are very nice, but it doesn't have that kind of smooth elegance that the D had. It doesn't have, the beauty of the pearlescent paint job that the refit had. It just seems a bit too, I suppose, contrived is the word I'd use to describe it. It's designed by committee. That's how it feels to me. So I'll give it 2.
2.
Don't hate me.
I'm not hating you. It's fine. It's perfectly up to you. I mean, this is the whole point of the cool score. It's our ability to get around having to, having to sort of go, no, I don't like it, so no.
Yeah, right.
So there you go.
It's where you get to put the boot in if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Which puts the Enterprise E, the USS Enterprise E, at 61 points.
Yep.
Putting it 1 point below the Defiant and 2 points below the Enterprise D. Proving that our scoring works by just based on what Andy just said in his cool score. So there you go. Yay! 61 points. Yay! And there was much rejoicing. Okie dokie. So, 61 points for that. So, yes, here we are. Let's move on now to Pete's ship, which is...
number 99 with a flake, I believe.
Number 99 with a flake at the helm, I think, isn't it?
Yes,
Here
we said
go.
we wouldn't do it. But
No.
we're about to put our scoring system to the test.
This is it, yeah. This is where we've stress tested our scoring system only so far. We need to see if it can really work now.
Pedal to the metal. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yes. It's the Doctor's time machine, of course, a Type 40 Gallifreyan time machine that's been a regular sight on TVs over the past 50-odd years. So much so that it's more likely to be recognised as a TARDIS than the police box it was originally modelled on. TARDIS, of course, as everybody knows, stands for Time in Relative Dimension, or Dimensions in space, depending on which fan you speak to, and indeed which story you're watching. Inconsistency, by the way, is going to be a feature of this in a big way.
Nice.
But hey, when it's been going for 50 years, I guess it's kind of understandable. Grown rather than built, powered by a black hole and sentient to boot. She was originally intended to be able to change shape and blend into the background thanks to its chameleon circuit. However, the Doctor's TARDIS has been stuck on police box for most of the show's history, with the exception of Attack of the Cybermen, where it was briefly fixed just to bait fans into a frenzy. And it worked.
Nice.
Thanks to the fact the interior is in another dimension, she's relatively impervious to damage, except when she's not. And the occupants are threatened by missiles, lava, or whatever that shouldn't be able to affect them in their internal space in another dimension. Hey-ho. It also has a Hostile Action Displacement System, or HADS, which, when activated, transports the TARDIS elsewhere when attacked, with the downside of stranding any crew left outside. She has a force field for good measure, presumably to protect the structural integrity of the exterior, and can turn invisible when the plot demands. We're looking at you, the impossible astronaut. Funny how they never managed to do that before then. It can only be piloted by its imprinted owner, except when that's not the case. I told you, inconsistency. And the internal dimensions of the TARDIS are also in a state of temporal grace, which has the effect of rendering weapons inoperable inside, except when it doesn't, because they've forgotten all about it. In terms of the interior, the series has mostly featured the control room, with its distinctive hexagonal console and wall roundels, though we have seen a secondary control room, bedrooms, lots of corridors, a swimming pool, and an immense boot cupboard as well over the years. So that's all very well, but how does it rate on our scoring system?
Can I raise a point of order here? And I'm not being difficult. I feel we need to address this and just put it down. Is the TARDIS eligible under our rules? And I ask this because I think it's the Doctor's Wife episode, when the TARDIS is manifest as a person, the TARDIS effectively says that she stole the Doctor, not the Doctor stole the TARDIS.
There is a very symbiotic relationship going on here, but she needs him as much as he needs her, is the bottom line. So yes, she requires a pilot.
Very good. Just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, as the intermediary here, as the translator between non-Who fan and Who fan, and I'm kind of sitting on the semi fence here.
You've got a semi. Oh dear.
Yes, exactly. I have a
The
semi.
excitement
He gets a semi when he sits on a fence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do we all.
Yeah, Stiffy and Splinters. I'm usually called.
Oh!
That's my Oasis band name.
Stiffy Splinters.
Stiffy Splinters. But no.
Got wood. Rather too much.
Yeah, you heard of cigarettes and alcohol. Well, I'm Stiffy and Splinters. Anyway, yeah, the one thing I would say is that all TARDIS, I don't know how TARDISes, especially in the Russell T Davies series, have multiple chairs around the console, which imply that it needs multiple people to fly.
Hence, it's got a hexagonal console. The implication is it requires 8 people, but the Doctor obviously manages. So
and in the episode with was it the Medusa Cascade or whatever it was with Dr. Donna? Don't know, but you help yourself out here, Pete, because otherwise it's going to all go wonky. They actually do have a full crew of 8 people flying the TARDIS.
Yeah, but we know it can be piloted by one. So
yes, but then it's all bouncing around and generally being
exactly
unpredictable.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because we know the TARDIS has a habit of doing what it wants. I just wanted to understand.
As do the script writers.
As do the script writers. Just wanted to make sure it was clearly eligible.
Yes.
It is.
So,
yes.
Continue, sir.
I will do. So, and here's where it gets very murky. Size. So the largest external dimension is its height.
Yes.
Which, the downside of this is there have been 6 different props over the years, all of different heights. The largest been around 7 foot maximum, which would only score 1 anyways. Of course, the internal dimensions are far larger, somewhere up to infinity. So we're looking either somewhere between 1 and 15.
Well, that's helpful.
Exactly.
I mean, to be quite honest, our thing has always been take the largest score with size.
To be fair, it's been take the largest external score.
That's the issue,
because you start doing that, and the Enterprise A is going to have some redonkulous height score when we get around to it.
The Enterprise A,
with its 63 decks.
Oh yeah, but it's still, that's internal decks, but that still doesn't. That's just because they mislabeled the whole fucking thing. There's nothing in canon that actually says just because they mislabeled it that there is actually 64 dots.
No, I know.
It is canon that the interior is, if not infinitely big, then certainly very, very big indeed. It's also canon, of course, that the outside is not very large at all. I mean, that's kind of the joke, isn't it? So
yes.
Where do we go with this?
So 1 or 15?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be the grumpy puss here. Because I like doing that, and I'll refer you to our rule when we don't have definitive numbers.
Well, we do have definitive.
No, we have definitive numbers of the outside.
Yeah,
and
also, it is several times stated that the inside is practically infinitely big because it's in another dimension.
Practically infinite.
Yes, which obviously our scale doesn't quite cope with. Hence, I said it's 1 or it's 15.
It's certainly there is also an episode with Matt Smith where he goes into the heart to jumpstart the ship, and there's actually a star inside in a big cavern. So there is visual evidence for it being that big. It
is immensely big inside.
And we'll come back to this one infinity later. So in fact I have a image of it right here for everyone to peruse, with Matt Smith looking at a star inside the TARDIS while standing on a gantry.
I mean, part of our problem is that, particularly once we hit the reboot, it is incredibly silly, isn't it? Let's face it. But that's what we're dealing with.
There you go. So, there you go. And he's viewing it from a distance as well. He's not even viewing it up close. It's far enough away that it's actually still only fist size, but it's definitely a star. So,
well, I think, really, unfortunately, we do have to give this 15 just on the basis that it's fucking huge.
Oh, but it's really tough because what Andy's saying is actually...
Except it's also really fucking small. I know. What
no,
do we do?
I'm saying nearly infinite isn't a number.
No, but that's only because our scale, unsurprisingly, doesn't go up to infinity. Or
Even if it did, infinity is not a number.
But if you go
It's
for
a
one,
concept.
how do you explain that you've got an entire sun inside there and a black hole and whatever else is inside there?
Well, when we get to science, we can have that discussion.
Oh, yeah. Science is the easy bit, believe me. I don't think we'll be arguing over science.
Yeah,
I'm specifically into negative.
We have a long-standing tradition on Space.Chewy, but when we do not know... Well, we can assume all you want.
We know it's fucking huge. That's the problem.
We know
we don't have numbers. We know things are fast, but we don't have numbers, so they get marked as 1.
Andy.
Yes?
Just briefly, just for 1 second. How big is a star?
Yeah. I mean, did you start with
What star?
Any star. Pick the smallest star you can find. And it has to be an active yellow star.
Right, so it has to be a main sequence star.
Yes, because it's an active yellow star in the heart of the TARDIS.
Well, I mean, let's just take the sun, because
that's
a main sequence star.
How big is that?
How big is the sun?
Moment, please. Man looks up thing on internet. It is 695,700 kilometers.
There you go.
Equatorial radius.
That's 15. Thank you.
15.
Okay, speed. This is a little easy.
Can you just do me a favour, though, Lee?
Yeah.
Put it in grey.
I think it is. I think it's definitely grey. I think there is no.
I think practically everyone is going to be grey, but never mind.
I will not deny you your grey mark, Andy.
In fact, we could probably do an entire pub episode just based on trying to reschedule this. But anyway,
yeah. I mean, I will not deny you your grey mark, and I do take your point. But I do have to say that
this is because of the Andromeda, isn't it?
Well, let's put it this way: you can't sit there and look at someone standing on a gantry inside a TARDIS, looking at a star from billions of miles away, and know that it's a big yellow sun, and go, that's not big inside.
For all we know, it's in a different dimension. It's been a quantum singularity point somewhere else.
On several occasions, the Doctor says that theoretically the internal dimensions of the TARDIS are infinite.
What is the first rule about the Doctor?
Oh, God.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, except the fact he shows us a star in your living room.
There's a certain amount of proof. Let's move on.
I've got a spaceship on my shelf. It doesn't mean anything.
Sublight speed, I'm only going to ask for 1, because it's only ever shown spinning in space relatively slowly, generally, when it's not travelling in time. So hopefully that one will be slightly less controversial.
No, that's fine. I get that. Because anything else would require it to go FTL stroke wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Timey wimey, which brings us on to our FTL, which of course is 6 for wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Yes, it is.
Rather disturbingly, because it breaks the system, but there we are.
Okay, so what about manoeuvrability?
This is a bit more difficult, isn't it? Because it's a box that can dodge around all over the place, sometimes very badly realised, but nevertheless it does so. So yes, I'm open to suggestion on this one. Really,
I mean,
it's a 5, and I don't even know why you're pretending it's not.
Well, it is a 5, but it's a 5 because it's a small box, I suppose, and therefore,
if you got episodes when it's dodging Daleks and Cybermen charging at it, it's
that is.
And I'm not talking when they're on the ground. I'm talking when they're flying, because Daleks fly now.
Yes. Yeah, okay then. Well, on to firepower then.
0. Let's move on.
Yep. Cool.
That's easy. Very easy one there.
So, on to active defence.
Oh dear. Okay. Where are we with here? Active defence. I've got the HADS would be an active defence.
Yep.
As would the temporal state of grace.
Temporal state of grace. Please explain that again for me.
The idea is that if somebody shoots a weapon inside the TARDIS, it doesn't work unless it's... Well, the only workaround is that sometimes, for some bizarre reason, the Doctor switches it off, because sometimes it does. But he does actually state at one point that no weapons can fire, nobody can be hurt, indeed, inside the TARDIS.
Can I just purely for accounting's purposes, can I put that under special, because that's nothing to do with the exterior of the ship?
Feel free.
I would just put that under special, just purely because it's an internal thing, and it's like soldiers and that kind of thing. You can't really... active defence, when we talk about active defence, is actually something attacking it from the outside.
Yep. So it gets 1 for the HADS and 1 for the manoeuvrability then.
So that's 2. Okay.
And then with passive, she's effectively got perfect shields.
Yep.
Plus the fact that she's in another dimension, and therefore, people inside can't be hurt by anything that happens, except when, as I say, ends up in a volcano and somehow gets hot or whatever.
There is one slight. Well, I mean, I really feel a bit ashamed to bring it up. Really, he says.
Before bringing it up,
there was a slight problem of a small cruise liner from the 1920s appearing right in the side of the ship.
Yes, all sorts of weird shit has indeed happened over the years. There was the occasion where it got all split up on a planet for no adequately explained reason.
End up in a Van Gogh painting at some point.
Oh, I don't know. It's all sorts of weird and wonderful.
Van Gogh painted it because he was seeing the future and seeing different things, but he was being affected by the thing blowing up and destroying the entire universe.
In terms of the original series, which is what I tend to specialise in, because the new series I'm not so much a fan of. Generally, she is indestructible, except on the occasions when she isn't.
Script shields.
Yeah. So okay. I don't know if you want to knock it down at least one for that.
I don't know, Andy. Seems you're our resident grump for this one.
No. I've got no problems with that because it demonstrates the ability. It temporarily losing the ability does not negate it.
Right. Okay. So it's
I just want to point out, I don't have an issue with it having a bigger interior thing as long as you've got a number.
Okay. Well, like I say, it's over 100 kilometers.
Very hard to measure infinite distances. That's the problem. But anyway, let's move on from that. So passive, we're going with 4 or 5?
5.
5. Okay.
5.
And special 1.
Special, we got 1 for the HADs, haven't we? Yeah. Okay. We don't get anything for the chameleon circuit because it doesn't
work.
Can I?
Did we hand out points of something being alive? I can't remember.
No.
Only if it's a benefit in terms of a
regrowing hull.
The Zerg thing got its point because it had the shooty tentacle thing, and
fair enough. Yeah. It's only vaguely alive, and that doesn't become particularly clear until.
Doesn't it have regenerative abilities though?
It does over time, yes.
Yeah, so that's one.
That's one.
Energy, so yes, I guess that's another one.
Could I also put forward, and this is, I know really I should be sitting here and just letting you just say your stuff and walk away, but wouldn't time travel be something of a defence?
But we're scoring at 6 for FTL.
Yeah.
It already scores its points.
You can't double dip.
No, fair enough. No, I'm just throwing it out there because I thought.
I mean, it clearly, it is a wonderful defence, but ultimately we've already accounted for that in the FTL scores.
Right,
so.
okay, fair enough. Okay, crew size.
Crew, as I've already intimated, I'm going for 1 on that on the basis of the Doctor. Yes, he scurries around like a mad thing because it is technically built for more people, but yes, he manages to pilot it on his own. So,
and to be quite honest, even if he had all the people, he'd only scored 2. So
yes,
yeah.
So big difference.
Okay, competence.
Well, he saves the universe on a regular basis, doesn't he? He's a bit erratic about it, granted, so you might want to knock him down at least a point for that.
I don't know. I mean, the only thing I would say is he did allow his TARDIS to blow up and effectively destroy the entire universe.
And then saved it or something.
He did save it, admittedly, after the event, but
yeah,
is a bit of a problem.
He did run off at one point rather than facing his problems and just spend his time being a rock musician, didn't he?
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, he's done all sorts of shit, particularly in the new series. I mean, back in the original series days.
He is the most incompetently competent person we've had, I would say.
Except for when he was the 6th Doctor and then he started strangling his companion, which isn't particularly heroic.
No.
Heaven knows. Well, throw a Scott. I mean, we could go for 3 as a mid-range.
I think that's a bit disingenuous, though. Let's face it, he's
the Doctor and he is magnificent, to quote a million episodes over and over
At some points it gets quite messianic, doesn't he, in Russell D. Davies' run? So.
The new Doctor Who, he is. I mean, you think the Andromeda was Space Jesus?
Yeah,
you're looking at him right now. He literally died for your sins.
Yeah, and was reborn.
Yeah, many a time.
Yeah.
Under protest, I don't think we can really give it anything less than a 5.
Yeah,
and I do mean under protest.
I feel exactly the same way, but yes, you're probably right.
Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna copy and I'm gonna paste format the grey over the top of that. Yeah,
depending how we feel down the pub.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's only fair because
and in advance, mark exterior grey as well, and probably interior for that matter.
Yeah.
And science.
No, I think we're going to agree on science. I think
Yeah,
science is going to be the least problematical score of them all.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
science is
That and firepower are the straightforward bits.
yeah, away with the fairies. That is.
Yes, quite so
Without a
away with the
doubt.
fairies. Indeed.
Mhm.
Exterior realisation.
Okay.
It's a rather tatty blue box in some stories. A
Mm.
much smarter looking one in more recent ones.
Yep.
Sometimes it's a great CG model.
Mm.
Other times in the 1980s, it's very early CG that's clearly been put together on a BBC Micro and does not look good.
Mhm.
Some of the miniatures they've used over the years haven't been too stellar either, it has to be said, considering it's a fairly basic design to replicate. So sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. So I'm kind of arguing for a 3 on that basis.
I think personally, I mean, I've been to the Doctor Who experience, and I've done, I've seen some of the older versions of the model. I think you're doing yourself a disservice because it is BBC Radiophonics Workshop Model Shop, Model Unit, whatever you want to call it, doing what they could do well. I mean, I think you could argue a 4.
I would. My 2 cents for
Yeah,
what they're worth
yeah,
is I'm not going to pay any attention to old Doctor Who because you've got all the arguments about budgets and the time and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the new Who stuff.
I don't know you anymore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make a point here.
Yeah,
My point is, even within the new Who, where they have a budget and where you have technology and all the abilities there, even within that, they're inconsistent with the appearance of the blue box.
Well, certainly the external design has changed at least twice.
Exactly, and then I'm saying I can understand.
But that is explained, of course, by the fact that actually you can change the external appearance of the TARDIS.
And I think that was retconning back to times when in the original run they were upgrading the model and making it look better because they had better technology. And it's just, if the chameleon circuit is broken,
Yeah, it should
that
stay
implies
the same.
to me that it's stuck how it is. It's not. It can be any type of blue police box you want.
Yeah, no, I agree. We have sort of reached this point now in the series where seemingly the external and interior dimension appearance changes when the Doctor does, bizarrely.
Yeah.
And particularly when the producer does.
Yeah, when the lead writer does.
They even changed it with his mood because Matt Smith's he got depressed and he changed it.
Yeah. So
I mean, they
what
reference it. They call it the desktop wallpaper, don't they?
Yes, well, yes.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
When we get onto the interior for that one is particularly, yes.
Okay,
bizarre.
so what are you arguing at, Andy?
I was arguing a 3. You were arguing
I was saying a 4 purely because
4. And Andy's arguing a...
I'm happier with a 3.
Yep.
okay, right,
Cool.
3 it is then.
Consensus.
Consensus reach. Okay, interior.
Yeah, again, this has obviously changed an awful lot over the years. We've got lavish multi-leveled sets in the new series,
Yes.
and a white room with a few roundels on the walls in earlier stories, with perhaps some antique furniture in the really early stuff.
And-
Sometimes, in fact, the roundels are just blown-up photos.
And in the case of the TV movie, you have Jim Moon's Library of Dreams.
Yeah, I really, really do not want to dwell on the TV movie, believe me. So,
You got to take it off of the smooth, my friend.
Yeah.
well, arguably, of course, everybody would say, "Oh, well, you're ignoring the smooth," because I'd rather go with the earlier stuff where it looks crap. But there you go. So again, I was going to originally argue for a 3 on the basis it's inconsistent.
No, you see, I
Sometimes
have less problems with the inconsistency of the interior than the exterior.
I mean,
Because-
it's that wonderful argument in the Children Need Special where he says, you've changed the desktop to coral, I see.
Exactly, there's that. And there's also when you find out that the TARDIS itself just stores the rooms elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I think from a design perspective, especially in the newer stuff, it's very well done. But I think you lose a point just in the inconsistency. So I'd say a 4.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'd be inclined for a 4 as well. I mean, the first Matt Smith one, where it's kind of like a sort of steampunky, sort of all brass and pipes and lots of multi-leveled stairs, I thought that looked really good.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed with that. And the fact that, again, at the Doctor Who exhibition where I took Katie to, you actually get to fly the TARDIS in that particular set. I mean, it's quite impressive. And,
I even quite liked Was it Eccleston's or Tennant's first one, which looked like it was all organic and everything?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's Eccleston and indeed Tennant. Cause
Yeah,
Tennant
and then it came back. That was briefly with one of them once when they go to one of the auxiliary control rooms.
Yes, I think is that the anniversary special one. They briefly show that.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So
I mean, as much as I don't like New Who, I absolutely adore that anniversary special. That the Day of the Doctor, was it?
Yeah, fantastic episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's one to win over even the most hardcore anti-Doctor Who Doctor.
The biggest
fan.
humbug old original series apologists will be won over by that one, I guarantee.
Yeah. Plus the fact his music is lifted completely from Suicide Run by Jack Wall, but let's not go there. Sorry, don't worry. Don't worry, it's a Mass Effect thing. Just don't worry.
So
Anyway,
Interior went with
Interior
4. Oh, I
were on
remember
4.
you making that argument. Yes. Indeed.
Um,
Science, I think at most we've got to go for 0.
I think you're pushing it at 0.
at most,
But 0, yeah. 0 nonetheless. Yep, okay. And cool factor. Here we go.
Oh, well, here we go, because my love of the original series comes in here because, I'm going to give it 4 because I love Doctor Who in its original incarnation.
Okay. Andy?
Okay, I'm in a very awkward place here because my girlfriend is a huge Doctor Who fan.
Ooh.
So you
And
give
if I
it a
give
3?
it anything less than a 3, I am probably going to suffer. But I do have temporarily the advantage that she is currently on the other side of a planet. And I can only hope that her seeing me again will override her real annoyance if I don't give it a 3.
Put it to the test.
I would not count on that.
No, it's true. I'm gonna err on the side of caution. I'm just gonna say 3.
Okay.
Okay.
And for me, I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with Doctor Who, especially with the older stuff. But the newer stuff, I mean, has proved time and time again that kids just want to have a TARDIS. I mean, you have the Enterprise.
It's an awesome concept. However, it's realised over the period, and different periods appeal to different people. It is an awesome concept.
When the fuckers...
Everyone wants to be a madman with the keys to a blue box.
Exactly. And let's be honest, when the fucking thing's dragging a planet around behind it and all this kind of stuff, you just got to go, well, who wouldn't want to have a ship that's that powerful and that cool? So, yeah, I mean, as much as I might look at Doctor Who, especially with the fans kind of hating everything that happens on it, even when it's the thing that they asked for, I can't deny it's not a cool idea. So I'm going to give it my full 3 as well. So that gives it a 10. So, there you go. So that gives the TARDIS, controversially, 59 points. No, I'm saying controversially because 59 points. That puts it 2 points below the Enterprise.
Which Enterprise? Your Enterprise?
Yeah, the Enterprise E.
Yeah. Okay.
So it puts it... Well, hold on. It puts it at 59 points. It puts it underneath Shinzon Scimitar.
And the Normandy. For those
And puts it
like
one
this.
above the Normandy, yeah. One above the Normandy, one underneath the Scimitar, one underneath a Warbird, and a Mumbai Charlene. and at least 3
But I
points.
think that's fair because in one hand, clearly it scores highly, particularly in terms of being able to travel in time, obviously, in its internal dimensions. But on the other hand, it's a silly little blue box that makes no sense scientifically whatsoever. So I think that's fair. It's about mid-table, which you'd expect, actually.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because when we started this off, when we really had no idea about the scoring, I mean, it was literally...
You mean back when they added up to about 60 for some reason?
Yeah, added up to 60 for reasons that best known to ourselves.
Yeah.
Just because we were in the ship and shovel, I think it was.
Yes.
And beer was in full flow. I mean, to be quite honest, we're kind of presuming that was going to be the top of the table because that's what always happens in all these top 10s. And yet...
Well, I think we've got a decent scoring system that wheedles out the
fanboys.
It has just, I think, proven itself.
Yes.
Yeah, it did the TARDIS and it didn't break the scoring system.
Really?
No, but it does have the most amount of grade 4 discussion spaces on it.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it, particularly with the dimensions. But let's move on.
Okay, right. Well, that's it. So 59 points for the TARDIS. Wow. And everyone was expecting 100. So, now it's time to move on to the next one. And it's on to spaceship number 100. 100. Yes.
Hey!
100th spaceship.
Hey! And it is, Andy.
I am bringing the Millennium Falcon. Enough said, really, isn't it?
Good night, everyone.
I suppose I should probably read some of this stuff out to you.
Yeah.
So,
I've never heard of this ship. Tell me more.
get out! The Millennium Falcon, as everyone knows, the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, from Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, and Force Awakens.
Yep.
And presumably The Last Jedi and everything going forward. Started life as a YT-1300F light freighter. Became famous under the control of the smugglers Han Solo and Chewbacca, and later part of the Rebel Alliance.
Yep.
Hairy bloke, used to walk around with a bandolier. Which, strange enough, just a very quick sidebar here. Never realised this before. It's not a bandolier. He has a purse.
Yeah, he has a man
It's a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never realised that.
It's a
I thought it's like,
bandolier with a purse.
he's a badass bandolier of ammo and shit. No, it's just his purse.
Yeah.
So there you go. Anyway, I digress.
Things you learn.
It's got
It
no
was
pocket.
no pocket. Well, it's true. There's no pockets. Previously owned by Lando Calrissian, who lost it to Solo in a game of Sabacc. Its aged appearance belies numerous advanced modifications to boost the ship's speed, weapons, and shields, including a hyperdrive engine amongst the fastest in the entire galaxy, allowing it to outrun Imperial ships, not just the small cruisers. I'm talking the big Corellian ships. It includes sensor-proof smuggling compartments, which were used in the rescue of Princess Leia Organa to evade stormtroopers. It saw further action when it joined Rebels, taking part in the Battle of Yavin, where it was able to sneak up on Darth Vader's advanced TIE fighter and shoot him because, he was...
ass.
In the ass. Shot him in the ass. What?
What?
After Han was captured on Bespin, Lando took command of the Falcon once more to search for him.
With
And later...
Num.
Yes, with a nyum.
And wearing Han's clothes. Interesting.
And wearing Han's clothes.
Stolen
Because that's
from the
not
wardrobe.
dodgy at all. Yeah.
Still warm.
It took part in the Battle of Endor, where it entered the Death Star, euphemism, and destroyed it from within. During this battle, the ship's circular military-grade sensor dish was knocked off as Calrissian was piloting through the Death Star's interior.
They never got Sky TV again.
They did not. I had to replace it with a square one, which is not quite as pretty.
Be Sky B, I assume.
I'd have thought so, yeah.
Free sap.
At least it got Channel 5 without the distortion.
Yeah.
Or you'd hope. I mean, this is a Star Wars ship on the wiki. It is the Star Wars ship. There is mountains of information here. I'm not going to go into all this. I will read a little bit.
Somebody actually was trying to argue with me on Twitter the other day that this was not the Star Wars ship, and in actual fact, it was the X-wing that everybody wanted. And I did, really.
You did yourself no favours by then turning around and saying the B-wing was the best ship in episode.
That was later on. But in terms of Star Wars,
I think it was Ollie Monk who tried to argue that...
as much as I dearly love him, you're wrong.
Yes, yeah, you are wrong. I'll give you a little bit of behind the scenes here. The original model was changed last minute because it was thought to too closely resemble the Eagle transporter used in Space 1999. So the original design was modified and later became the Blockade Runner. The cockpit is designed to be reminiscent of the famous B-29 Super Fortress. And the sound effect was derived from slowing down the audio of a P-51 Mustang taking part in a race in the Mojave Desert. The ship is also the model of the ship is dotted with numerous model kit parts from World War II battleships and cars and tanks and so forth. Me and Lee recently saw the model at the Star Wars Identities exhibition. You can pick out all the little details, and it's like that's a gearbox, and that's a cylinder head, and
there was also little signatures on the panels.
The original model makers signed their names onto the ship, hidden away in little places. One of the things people who build replicas of the studio model often add the signatures on there as well. So go. For A New Hope, the exterior set was built for Docking Bay 94 and later moved to the Death Star. I think they only built half of it, though, for A New Hope. But in Empire Strikes Back, they built the entire thing.
Yep.
For the hangar bay.
On great big inflatable things, they could move it around the sets.
Yeah, hovercraft.
Basically, yes. Because, again, it's British built. Way! But yes, it was built in the Sunderland hangar, and also they built a full mock-up once more for The Force Awakens, which they also used in The Last Jedi, coming out soon. It was speculated it might make a cameo appearance in Revenge of the Sith, and is actually seen ever so briefly approaching the docking bay on Coruscant as the Stellar Envoy, as it appeared in 19 BBY, which means for the Battle of Yavin. So there you know. So yes, like I said, there's mountains and mountains of stuff, books written about this shit, but let's just get on and rate this thing. Because it's everyone knows what's the Falcon. And
it also, and in Force Awakens, it also has a Batmobile underneath.
Yes, it does.
Stuck to it.
Batmobile hidden away in there. On the full size model, that is.
Yeah, on the full size model, there's actually a Christopher Nolan era Batmobiles as one of the details on the underside near the cockpit.
One of the Greeblies.
Yes, one of the Greeblies, yeah.
Yes, Greeblies. So it's the size.
Yes.
On this, we have 34.75 metres.
That's a 1.
I believe it's a 1.
Yes, that's a big fat 1.
It's a big fat 1.
Okay.
Now, for speed on the sublight, Star Wars ships are generally pretty pants on there.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's roughly the same sort of speed as Slave 1.
Yes, which I'm rapidly looking. 3.
We gave it a 3 for sublight. So I'd peg it about the same as that.
That sounds fine. So that's a 3. Okay.
Okay. Now, FTL, Star Wars ships traditionally are free. Can I get a cheeky extra 1 because it is the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy?
No.
We'll take the 3 then and be happy for it.
Oh dear. Yeah. See, that's the problem going after the TARDIS stand. And a drunken man.
stand by my complaints with the TARDIS.
I know.
Right by history.
I know. You got a drunken man you're appealing to at this point. But anyway, yeah, go on.
I'll point out you're not fighting me here, Peter. You're fighting the Falcon.
Yes. Anyway,
maneuverability. Again, I'm pegging it. I mean, it's not too crazy, super fast, insanely maneuverable like the thing. But again, we're well above flying bricks. We see it weaving in and out of ships all over the shop during the Battle of Endor. I think I'd ask for a 4 based on that.
Yeah, I mean, if only for the for flying round. I mean, it's more maneuverable than TIE fighters in Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
Actually, now I tell you what. In Force Awakens, when Daisy's flying it, escaping the TIE fighters, it is maneuverable as fuck there.
I was going to say it even pulls a skid.
Yes.
So yeah. So I
tell you what. Based on that, I'll ask for a 5. Based on.
I mean, 5 is White Star literally spinning on the spot, so I don't think you can
I'll point out when she comes out from the after the laser turret gets knocked out. That is literally spinning on the spot there in atmosphere.
Just a loop. That's not quite the same. She doesn't literally flip 180 degrees.
She literally does flip 180 degrees.
No, she doesn't. She does a loop, so she brings it round.
Yeah, and you're about to start crackling. I guess I'm kind of torn here. I mean, the problem I have is that 5 would literally kill a man inside a normal mechanical ship.
It doesn't do any of that. I think it's a 4. It's as smooth as you can be without being silly.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of like 5s, I mean, in the case of 5s, it's like the TARDIS, it's White Stars, it's the red police cruiser from Lilo and Stitch. I mean,
okay, we'll take the 4. And,
I mean, I would dearly, dearly love to give it a 5, but
I'm just saying, based off of the Battle of Endor, it's a 4. But I think the maneuverability it displays during The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
I
mean, I do agree, but the problem is, I think that's just a problem with our scoring gradation because it doesn't pull anything close to what like a White Star would pull without. Or the TARDIS or anything like that, and it's almost like a 4.5.
Yeah. No, well, we're not getting into bloody half points. We've already said that.
So I'm afraid 4. As much as I'd love to give it a 5, but it's just comparing it to other 5s. I mean,
no, that's quite all right, sir. We will.
I mean,
we will take our 4.
We've got a Gunstar and the Andromeda Ascendant at 4 as well. So yeah,
that's fine. Okay, weaponry. The weaponry on the Falcon normally suited to much larger ships. It includes 2 CEC AG-2G quad laser cannons.
Oh, obviously.
Also, lots of words, and also there are concussion missile tubes located in the forward mandibles. They're words; they're all English. Don't really in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, I'll throw you a bone here. I mean, concussion missiles are the ones that you find on B-wings, and B-wings are supposedly able to take out like Star Destroyers with a couple of well-landed shots.
They're supposed to be able to do that, yeah. I mean, I suppose they're kind of the equivalent of those mines that the seismic charges that the Slave 1's kicking out.
Slave 1's kicking out, yeah.
So what is Slave? We gave Slave 1...
I'm racing towards it now.
5.
Yeah, 5. I think you're probably in that region.
Yeah, I think about that. I'm just trying to see what else got in around there. Man looks up shit on Excel spreadsheet.
The Saratoga, the Dreadnought, CNV 301.
Yeah, I think 5-ish.
Yeah, the HMS Fearless, Lady Massager.
It's not really meant to go in there and kick up shit. It's supposed to just keep itself out of trouble.
Rather controversially, I also noticed that the Enterprise refit had a 5. But,
That's going grey for discussion later on.
Same for the Excelsior as well, and the Reliant.
All of them are getting grey.
Yeah,
grey them up, man.
I'm all over it. Don't worry.
You're all over that.
It's all about the grey.
It's all about the grey. We are the grey. We stand between the door and the bar.
Don't start with that shit.
Anyway, yeah, go on, carry on.
So 5 we're going for, yes.
Yeah, 5 sounds good.
So for active defence, we get 1 for manoeuvrability.
Yep.
Of getting 4. I think that's probably...
she has angled shields, doesn't she?
She does have angled shields, yes, that's
passive.
correct. You angle the main deflector. And she can jam, but I mean, I think that comes under special, doesn't it?
Jam comes under special, and passive is basically still is the angled shields, because it's just shields.
Well, it's just shields, but it also has upgraded armour on board. It has dual alloy plates salvaged from an Imperial cruiser, affording the Falcon capital ship class armour.
Right, okay, so... Just to recap, active, we've got 1 point. Passive, we're on to the angled shields and armour. So we're talking about, what, probably a 4? 3?
I think a 4. I mean, it's...
Because 4 is trick shields. And
I don't think it's Trek shields, but you've got the added armour on there as well.
Yeah, well, we got for 3 shit shields, heavy armour. That's how it's quoted on the scoring board.
Yeah.
heavy armour.
V heavy armour.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's V heavy, no, I just say it's heavy armour.
In which case it's a 2.
Oh, it's shit shields with heavy armour, because you've got the angled shields.
Yeah, exactly. I go for a 3.
Yeah, I'll take a 3.
Take a 3, right. Okay, cool. 3 for passive. And special, you were saying it's got a jammer?
Yeah, it can jam incoming ships, prevent them from getting away. I don't really think the smuggling compartments really count for much.
Not really, no.
Not really there.
You could hide in those all you like, but somebody's still going to shoot you down. So.
Or potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
How about the fact there's almost always a Force-sensitive person on board?
Bit of a stretch, because
most
of the
slightly.
time...
It doesn't
a bit of a stretch from the person that told me to fucking use it as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Edgar.
I know. Fair enough. I know. Yeah, at this point, I don't wish to seem like I'm trolling.
As he goes.
I'm not. Don't want to seem like trolling. I mean, I was thinking about it after we had that discussion, and the problem is the Force sensitive people, with the exception of Rey, Force Awakens spoilers, is everyone else is actually a passenger. So technically not part of the crew.
I mean, the amount of time it flew with just Han and Chewie on board without a Force-sensitive person.
No, that's fair. Again, I was only putting it on after the suggestion.
I mean, no. I mean, I totally hold my hand up to being the person who put that suggestion forward, because that would have been the thing I would have thrown out there as well. But thinking about it now and knowing how our listeners can be shall we say, very thorough with what
No,
we've said before.
Don't throw our listeners under it. It's fine. We'll take the point.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I just remember that Ben Kenobi's a passenger, so's Luke, and actually no, you could have Leia because Leia's on it in New Hope, and she flies it in Empire.
Mm-hmm. But generally, the standard crew are Han and Chewie, aren't they?
Typically so, yes.
Yeah.
I gave it a shot to claw it back.
No. Yeah.
Get out!
Anyway, get out!
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else on special we can really
no.
talk about on there. Where are we up to next?
Crew numbers.
It's 1.
1, yeah.
Crew competence.
That would be a 5, really.
I'm asking for 5, absolutely.
You're getting a 5.
whichever crew you want to go with, I'll take 5.
Ultimately, they all make good, so yeah.
Lando and Nin Num.
even Lando and Nin Num do the job. They wipe out the Death Star. What more could you ask?
Yeah,
that's very true. That's very true. I was merely putting my troll hat on at that point, but that's fine.
Putting it on? Has it been off once in the last 67 episodes?
No, not really. But it is worth mentioning that I'd already written 5 down by the time I started mentioning it.
Okay.
Anyway, exterior, I think this is pretty straightforward.
It is.
It's 5.
5, yes.
Interior?
5.
It has to be said that I was always massively disappointed with the Palatoy version of the Millennium Falcon. It only included a part of the interior. And my git of a friend of the time said, well, if you take away the cardboard bits, inside is the rest of the Millennium Falcon. So I took my screwdriver and I disassembled my Millennium Falcon, pulled the card out. It's like, it's just empty plastic.
Did they ever find the body?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
quite.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. He would have fucking died with a screwdriver in his eye. Right, okay, so moving on to science.
Science, it's nothing special. It's down in the 1s and 2s, I'm thinking.
I was going to say, it is
Star Wars science.
It is Star Wars science, so it's about 1 or 2.
We usually give 1 for the bigger ships because they're just stupidly big. In the stupid list. So I'd say 2 because this isn't stupidly
should be whatever
big.
Slave 1 has got,
I
guess.
literally going to that right now.
Slave 1 we gave it as a 1, but I think that's still a... Because
that was because of seismic charges, wasn't it, in space?
Yeah, possibly in space.
I mean, 2, I think you could do 2.
I think 2.
I'm happy with 2. That's fine.
Okay, cool. Cool factors. Should we just write 10 and just be done with it?
Let's do that.
No, 10 each. It's 30.
Right, okay, so cool factor. I mean, it's just everyone's going to give it maximum points, or am I just completely deluded here?
Oh, no, you're quite right, sir.
Okay, cool. Right, which gives us, rather shockingly, a score of 49 points.
Oh, dear. Wow.
Maybe
have
the score
failed.
system is broken.
I think the score system is very broken.
Yeah, wow. That's...
I personally think that we should have given it 10 points each for school, because... It's the Millennium fucking Falcon.
Well, you could argue that, but then that would break his spreadsheet, and then we'd be in all sorts of problems. We're
already in all sorts of problems.
All sorts of universes would burst off out of that decision.
Cats and dogs living together.
On the upside, it scores more than the Voyager, which makes me happy.
Well, it fucking will.
If it scored less than Voyager, I would be tearing up this bloody spreadsheet.
Yeah, it scored 1 point more than Voyager, mind you.
Yeah.
not, and it scored. Oh, good lord!
1 less than the Zerg Leviathan.
Yeah, but Zerg Leviathan's just silly.
Well, yeah. Thanks. Cheers for that.
Well, it is, isn't it?
It's more than the Reliant. It's more than the Bird of Prey or the Destiny.
Well, we can rethink our thoughts about the force sensitive operators.
Well, we could, but even then, it would only put it 1 point up.
I don't care. That's 1 point away from it.
Fine.
Flush you up in. Do
you know what?
White Star territory then as well.
Yeah, that's fine. I can handle that. I'm giving it an extra point for the full sensitives on board. There you go, 50 points.
There you go. Hey.
There you go, 50 points, which puts it now. It puts it above the Vogon constructor fleet and underneath the Narada.
Yes. But again, it's the same scores as the Regent's flagship, the White Star, the Donninger,
the Liberator, just a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. It just goes to prove.
I apologise. I shall now, as is tradition, commit seppuku.
I think it's only. I think it's only fair. I think we should all do that. I think this should be the episode. This should be the end of Blackadder season 2. Just the sound of a bell tolling and then someone speaking in German going, "This is the best disguise of all."
Yes, I could just get the accent.
Yes, just get the accent. Flossie. Anyway, so there you go. Yeah.
You somehow lost with the Millennium Falcon.
You lost with the Millennium Falcon.
I think we all lost when we gave the fucking TARDIS 15 for its size.
Dude,
no, we didn't.
Even if, but even if we did, I mean, frankly, we still didn't push it up into the top 10, which is where everyone thought it would be. So,
no, so where everyone thought it should be. Again, unfortunately, we have a very robust scoring system.
Clearly. So there you go. So that's it. So the final scores are the Millennium Falcon with 50 points, the TARDIS with 59, and the USS Enterprise E with 61. Wow. Wow. What an episode. Not nearly as much argument as I thought there'd be, but, there you go. Hey-ho. Why has he changed the colour? Why have you changed the colour? I'm watching Andy mess with my bloody...
Oh, no, you just called it the USS Enterprise, and it bugged me, because every other ship is just USS.
Oh, all right. Motherfucker. Anyway. Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's move on and see what we're going to be bringing next week. For God's sake. So, yes. So, what ships will we be bringing? Well, I will be bringing a little bit of retro action for me. I will be bringing the C-57D from Forbidden Planet.
I shall be bringing the battleship Yamato, the ship from the film of the same name.
Or also from Star Blazers cartoon as well.
Yes.
There you go. Lots of research for you, young man.
I should be watching the film again because I've got it.
Okay, fair enough. And Andy, what are you bringing?
I am going to bring the second greatest ship that we will have had on our thing after the Falcon. I must avenge myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I am bringing the Normandy SR2.
Which doesn't go zzz, it goes shoo, shoo, shoo. There you go. That's one for you fans out there.
Induction port.
Anyway, so there you go. So it's
a bendy induction port.
Anyway, so there you go. It's the Normandy SR2, the battleship Yamato, and the C-57D. So there you go. Thank you very much for listening. Let's do our little plugs at the end there. So, Andy, do you want to tell us about your podcasts?
When I'm not engaged in vigorous debate with these two gentlemen about spaceships, you can catch me and Elton talking about Band of Brothers, and alternatively talking about Formula One, which are all over at rogue2media.com.
Okay, and Pete?
Well, yes, you can catch me on the broadcast talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine at the moment, and I do that with Anne-Marie, and that's over on Geek Planet Online.
Cool. And you can hear me on the Black Dog Podcast, which you can find at podcast.blackdogpodcast.com, or you can just go to blackdogpodcast.com and find it there, or you can go on iTunes or just about anywhere. If you type in Black Dog Podcast, you will find it. So, until next time, when we will be doing our C-57D and the Normandy SR2 and the battleship Yamato, do join in, get involved with the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/SpaceDocJury, and talk to us on Twitter, which will be at SpaceDocJury. Until next time, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again soon. Till then, Satty, bye.
Tinkety tonk and down with the Klingons.
I'll go. See ya.
Space Doc Jury is a production by 3 Angry Beards for GeekPlanetOnline.com.